Thank you. That report from the Department of Defense that said there's $125 billion worth of waste that can be eliminated was when the Defense Department budget was $670 billion. So we absolutely could cut and roll back the Department of Defense budget. And it's not just $716 billion. You have to add in what's going on with nuclear weapons. You have to add in the budget for our intelligence agencies. You have to add in the budget for overseas operations. It's actually closer to $886 billion. There's a lot that can be funded by rolling back the defense budget and making the Defense Department accountable for the ways that they spend our money.
And just to be clear, Dr. Khan, do you support the creation of the Space Force?
The functions are important. Some of those functions are important. Whether or not we need a different agency or can be part of the Air Force or part of NASA remains to be seen.
Flexible. Ms. Cobb?
Yeah, I don't think that we need a Space Force. It doesn't sound from the Pentagon that we need a Space Force. And I agree that we could roll it into NASA or the Air Force.
All right. And Congresswoman?
I'm proud to be the candidate for robust and strong national defense spending. I serve on the House Armed Services Committee. I am the leading voice for Fort Drum, for our military community throughout our district. Fort Drum is the largest economic driver. I'm proud to have served 4 years finalizing the NDAA and getting that signed into law on a bipartisan basis under President Obama and President Trump. I do not support defense cuts. Both of my opponents are on record saying they support defense cuts, which would decimate Fort Drum. We have seen the negative impacts of defense cuts. Under President Obama with sequestration, that gutted Fort Drum and it gutted our military readiness. It cut programs that are important for military training and military spouses. When it comes to Space Force, yes, we need to look into the future. China is increasing their investment in their military capabilities, particularly their space capabilities. The U.S. needs not just to keep pace, we need to make sure that we are on the cutting edge of what our national security challenges will be in the future. So I do support a Space Force to make sure that we are on the edge and are leading the world in a global way.
And Congresswoman, where does the funding for this come from?
The funding comes from Congress. One of the most important roles
of Congress. The money has to come from somewhere, though.
We've made investments in our national defense. We have made those tough decisions, and we have fought back to sequestration fights. I do not support balancing the budget on the backs of our soldiers and our troops and our military families. So we will find the money, and Congress's job is to appropriate that. When it comes to savings, we should look at every other department to look for potential savings, to find duplicative programs, and that's something that I agree with Dr. Khan, specifically in other departments.
All right, Ms. Cobb,
yeah, she did mention your record, okay. So we'll go Dr. Khan and then Ms. Cobb, and then we'll have to move on.
The current Congress, Republicans and Democrats, has failed this nation by violating the oath they swore to defend and support our Constitution. We haven't had a conversation about declaring war, about the use of military forces, and the Republicans, and you in particular, are just taking gobs of money from defense industries, and the Democrats are taking money from other industries that benefit from war. And if we cared about our soldiers and we cared about our veterans and their families, we'd stop sending them off to wars that do not have to be fought, and we'd have the courage to have that conversation in public and on the House of the Senate and the House of Representatives.
Okay, Ms.